So when you start out in the Spanish 4th Division, games like today are exactly the kind of fixture you dream of one day coming back for. The Champions League at home against Juventus. Today we're going to update you on our form. We're unbeaten since the last episode, yet we're in absolute crisis. So here is that form since the last episode. It doesn't look like crisis form, but trust me, I'm thinking of throwing the tactical plan completely out of the window. We've really been struggling. In our last episode, we were losing 3-1 to Real Madrid. No disgrace in that at all, although we never really looked like winning that game. In the next one, we were better, I suppose. We played Sevilla. We got a 1-1 draw. A point against Sevilla is no bad result, I suppose. And if you have a look at the XG, we probably shouldn't have let them back into the game after Cordoba put us into the lead on the 50th minute. But it's in the next few games where things have just started to look not just frayed around the edges, but a little bit desperate at times. Against Shakhtar, we should have won this game once, twice, maybe won it a third time. We restricted them to just one shot in the entire game up until the 85th minute when they started to have a couple of efforts on goal. We had 15, only 3 of them were on target. Our 3 midfielders and 2 strikers were absolutely nowhere in this game. We had an XG of above a 1, couldn't score a goal, only picked up a point against Shakhtar. Then we played Las Palmas, a win, but a 3-2 win against a newly promoted club. Having gone behind to a Sergi Cañas goal, we managed to get back into the game with a brace from McComb before we let them back into the game. And in order to get the goal that got us into the lead from McComb, we changed our tactical plan because we really were just wasting chance after chance after chance, and our opponents had plenty of their own. They had an XG of above a 1 themselves. They looked dangerous. We got the winning goal pretty late on in the game, in the 89th minute, but that's after we changed our tactics in that game. We went back to our favoured formation for the Villarreal game, but it was a similar story, I'm afraid. We took the lead in this one, but then they managed to get back onto level terms before taking the lead 3 minutes later. We threw the tactical plan away again, started to go a little bit more gung-ho, and we equalised, and we took the lead very late on, and in injury time we got a 4th that made this result look comfortable. But have a look at the XGs, and have a look at the number of shots. This was far from a comfortable victory. It was a scramble job, to be honest, as was our performance in the next game against Valladolid. We've just won this game 3-1. Not a bit of this was a winning performance. We probably should have been 2-0, 3-0 down in this game. We were 1-0 down, and then we managed to score 3 goals. But for most of this game, Valladolid laid siege to our goal. We'd started with an amended formation. That didn't work. I was tweaking again on the 36-minute mark, but we did manage to get away with it. Our XG is pumped up a little bit by the fact that we got a very late penalty that Dybala managed to tuck away. We should have lost this game, and Valladolid are not one of the top sides. So I'm starting to question where we go from here tactically. Yes, it's 3 wins, but we've conceded a lot of goals, a hatful of chances, had to change tactics mid-game just in order to try and rescue wins. And I think going forward, we might need a new plan. I'm not saying we're going to go with it today. We're at home against Juventus. I think it's safer to stick with the familiar, but during the game, you might need to have a look at how we're playing and give me your advice down in the comments about where we might go next in terms of our tactical direction. So this is the formation that we switched to about a third of the way through our first season in La Liga, and it has served us incredibly well. I just think it's running out of steam. Maybe now that we are a stronger team in this division, other teams have worked out how to set up against it. We still have lots and lots of chances, but we're not really scoring any goals with it. And I've been changing to more attacking variants of this tactic, often playing with 3 up front during the last 3 or 4 games, in order to try and rescue results when things were going badly. We're going to stick with it today, but I feel like a new tactical plan is going to be needed if we're going to get back into the Champions League positions during this season. We're already about 7 points behind Barcelona in the league. I think we've only played 7 or 8 games. we're off the pace already, and I'm a bit concerned that unless we make a change now, a poor run of form is coming. We're going to see how this gets on against Juve today. If our past 3 or 4 performances are anything to go by, I might be hitting the tactics within the first half an hour in order to make changes. Let us know down in the comments, based on your knowledge of the players that we've got, what kind of changes would you make? Let us know down in the comments section what you would do if you were in charge. But today, we're going to keep things old school. We're going to get out there against the old lady of Italian football and see if we can get another point, maybe 3, in the Champions League group stages. Okay, this is not going to be an easy game. I've seen the Juventus lineup and they have got some players playing for them. They've got Chiesa, Milenkovic, Savic is going to be in the team as well. They have got some talented boys. De Ligt is still in the squad as well. They're currently bottom because they lost to Chelsea in their opening game while we picked up that point against Shakhtar. But today, if we could get another point out of this game, I think we will have done well. I've got a feeling I could be reshuffling the tactics within the first 30 minutes of the game. They've gone over the top really early. It's run through to Barossi, and he deals with it pretty calmly. We're into the highlights early again. We've got 3 minutes on the clock. McComb with a little scooped ball back to the midfield players, and Koulibaly's got it at the back. He gives it to Almeida. We've gone all the way back to Barossi. What are we up to here? We're pottering around with the ball on our own back line. Finally, we've gone over, and McCoom's in, you know. He's been in a good little patch of form. That's not part of it. He has got back into the goals over the last few games, but unfortunately not on that occasion. They've got the ball. Trincao, another good player. I noticed Onana was in goal as well. They have got some decent players. They're coming forward now. We've only got 4 minutes on the clock. This is Milenkovic Savic. He could be a real danger man. He's got to be into his 30s by now, I would have thought. But we've seen with players like Sadio Mane and Thibaut Courtois at Barcelona and Madrid respectively, these quality players just go on and on. Trincao's in the box. Barossi's got down and tips one round the post. We are under the cosh early. I'm thinking of maybe just dropping to balanced fairly early. Maybe I shouldn't have started on a positive mentality. We're in though. McComb, counter-attack from their set piece. McComb's got no support with him. He's been easily dispossessed. We've given the ball away against Juventus. We've won it back. Diego Rosa. Not been great, Rosa, this season, although his Spanish citizenship paperwork has just come through. I got led a merry little dance with him. I was told that his Spanish citizenship was pending. Brace yourselves, brace yourselves. I think we've just taken the lead against Juventus. Halfway through a story about Rosa, but Cordoba doesn't care about that. He's burst through to a little through ball from, it's not Dybala, it's actually going to be McComb. It is a little reverse pass. Cordoba's in and he's back on form this season, by the way, Cordoba. Playing much better. But back to Rosa, 1-0 up against Juventus. Can't knock that. Diego Rosa was awaiting Spanish citizenship paperwork to come through. I thought it would only be a matter of days until we got that paperwork through. So I went out and signed another non-EU player. Turns out it took a good couple of months for that citizenship to be granted. In fact, it was only granted during this week, and I had 4 non-EU players and was only able to register 3 of them. So we've sent poor Johnny out on loan until Christmas, when we can bring him back. And now that Diego Rosa is essentially Spanish, we should be able to register Johnny for the squad, which will essentially give us a brand new signing in the shape of Johnny when we get to January. We've got a lot of games to get through. Before we get there, we've got to throw into Juventus. We've headed it clear all the way back to them. And we've got defensive work to do. They've slung a ball into the box. Trincao, not the greatest aerial threat. We see him off, but Pedro, so good. Either they've named him twice or he's got 2 names that are very close to each other. Slings in a cross. And we're going to pause the game there. Let's have a look at these match stats because tactically, I've got concerns, but we've probably matched Juventus, maybe even shaded it so far. Juventus have had more of the ball, and we're meant to be a possession side, but we're not doing bad. In fact, we're going to pause the game again, and we're going to throw out a shout and praise the boys, because compared to how they've been playing over the last few games, this is actually a little bit of an improved performance. The body language is good. The performances are pretty reasonable. Who could we get a little bit more out of? Bora at left back. I am now in season 8 and have not had a good performance from a left back in 8 years. And I must have trialled at least 10 different left backs in that time. Right backs, we seem to get decent performances out of. We're cursed when it comes to getting good scores from the left backs. Bora's now on a 6.4. Goodness knows what we're saying to him at half time, but we've got an unlikely lead against Juve. We could just see this through for 45 minutes more. This could be 3 huge points. So I've actually made a little tweak at half time. I've taken Bora off. And I've reverted back to a thing that I was doing towards the end of last season of playing our right back Rosanus and our club captain over at left back. He's comfortable playing there, but obviously he's right-footed, so he's not going to go bombing on down the left. But maybe he might be a more secure option than Bora, who'd gone down to a 6.4 average rating. In the other game, Chelsea are 4-0 up against Shakhtar, so Chelsea are going on to 6 points. They already look like the front runners in this group. But if we could hold on here, this will be Juventus' second defeat. And you never know, we might start to dream. I think on 65 minutes we're going to make our second change. I'm thinking Diego Rosa could be the man to come off. And as we hit 65 minutes, we're going to pause and we're going to make a quick sub. We've got one final change to make. I'm going to keep that up my sleeve. I'm thinking Rossi for Dybala, maybe even Luzzi for Dybala. Might be our final change, but I have taken off Diego Rosa. He was playing a 6.6, not performing well and looking tired as well. I've brought Hjulmand on in midfield as one of the 2 Carrilleros. Here's Dybala. I think he's going to be the last man to make way. Not playing terribly, but not really being involved against what is his former club. We picked him up on a free after Ronald Koeman, who is the Juventus manager, decided to release him. Chiesa has gone down. You're not blaming us for that. We were nowhere near him, and we've decided to play on. Good sportsmanship, boys. Now let's put them to the sword. McComb down the right. Can we snag a second goal? An unlikely second goal that will put us in the box seat. We've got Milanese. We've got Cordoba. He's hit another one. He is back on form, I tell you. We are 2-0 up against Juve. Poor Chiesa still dying at the other end of the pitch. We go all the way down their end. Simao gets the ball out on the right, slips it to Milanese. Little ball in. Cordoba peels back to the edge of the area. And you may well celebrate, my son. 20 years old, in the Spanish under-21 squad. 2 goals against Juventus. Let's make our final sub. Maybe even catch our breath. Okay, this is controversial. Final sub made. Luzzi on, not Rossi. Even though Rossi was second top scorer in the league last season, I've gone with the youth and the pace of Fabian Luzzi for the final 15 minutes. We are now into injury time, and here is Luzzi to the other substitute, to the third substitute. All 3 have combined. Luzzi to Rosanus to Hjulmand. Injury time. We're 3-0 up against Juventus. I think we might get a point out of this game now. Look at Luzzi. Dots back. He's got 3 men on him. Rosanus, barely anybody around him, and Hjulmand curls in. A beautiful little effort from the Danish international. And can we now get a point from this game? We've got 3 goals and we've only got an XG of 0.8. You know what? I'm not going to complain after how we've been playing recently. That is a performance and a half. We've been a little bit more efficient with our shooting this game. Far more of our shots have gone on target. And we've been a bit more ruthless with the goals that we've scored. Cordoba and Hjulmand have given us a 3-0 victory over Juve. Let's check out how that leaves the Champions League group table. So the table looks pretty good. Only 2 games played, but we're on 4 points. Chelsea are looking strong in 6. They did get a 4-0 win Lukaku, surprisingly, is only 35. I would have had him down for his mid-40s. He's still got pace of 16 at the age of 35. I thought Chelsea would have bombed him out by now, but he's actually one of the top strikers in the Premier League, it would seem. How we're going to deal with him in our next Champions League group game, I'm not entirely sure, but I think one of the two games against Chelsea may well be the next one that we bring you back for in Begborough Steel.